Interswitch Systegra is the technology business of Interswitch. Okay, what we try to do is to leverage technology to solve problems. Okay, so fundamentally, what we try to do for our customers, for our partners, is to find best of breed and best in class technology, put them together and try and use that to solve a problem for our customers. Over the last 20 years, banks have relied on us to provide them with that infrastructure to drive payment and to drive commerce. Where the banks are now is that they are looking for the next generation technology to truly transform banking. Okay, what we've done in the last 20 years is largely focused on retail banking, a little bit of corporate banking. But now we've seen requests from our banking partners looking for complete transformation of their wholesale or their transaction banking business. Banks are looking to partners to help them find new opportunities to deliver services to their customer much faster, much cheaper, more nimble, and probably they're also looking for partners that can take on full responsibility. So what we're doing now in Systegra is we've now acquired certain capabilities, okay, to help banks deal with issue of how do I transform my wholesale banking business, okay. So we've partnered with the third largest banking technology player in the world to basically focus on trade, treasury, risk, supply chain finance, cash management. Now, what we want to do is to work with banks that can afford it to build that infrastructure that will completely digitize that part of their banking operations. Not only here in Nigeria, we want to do that across Africa. Okay. The second major investments that we're making is we're now building out a business support framework that allow banks who want to focus solely on banking. We can see the way the landscape is changing. Okay, banks now want to focus on banking. They're setting up holdcos to do fintech, to dump all of their technologies within the fintech while they focus on core banking. What we're saying to them is, for your core IT infrastructure, can you look towards Interswitch Systegra as that partner that you can completely entrust your payment infrastructure to? Can you give us your FEP? We'll manage that for you, okay? So those are banks with FEPs, okay? Now there are banks that, look, they've built a model. We have customers like that said, look, I don't want to invest in IT. Can you provide this to me as a managed service, okay? Deploy it within my data center, run it for me, and give me certain key KPIs that will enable me to do banking properly. Uptime, service quality, innovation. We're doing that for some of those partner banks. And interestingly, we're seeing tier 3 banks that are saying, look, I don't have a data center. I don't have funds to invest in wholesale core infrastructure. Can you provide me something from your data center, from your infrastructure, or in the cloud? So we're beginning to make those kind of investments where we provide this shared service to those banks and partners that want to outsource all of their work to us. So that's what we're doing now, and that's what will be different going forward. We're positioning Interswitch Systegra to be that partner that you can entrust all of your technology requirements to, and you can basically go to bed and trust that we'll make that happen for you. That's interesting. One of the things that we do very well in Interswitch is to solve problems. Okay, we've supported the microfinance businesses. When I say businesses now, I mean microfinance banks, microfinance institutions, and then the people who offer similar service, the cooperatives, the unions and co. We've supported that business now for close to 15 years from a distance, okay? What we've seen in the last 3, 4, 5 years is within the microfinance space, they now want to play an active role and a complete engagement leveraging technology capabilities. So they want to also become a digital bank. They want to offer digital financial services. They want to do invoice discounting. They want to basically compete with the commercial banks, and they want to do that working with practically the same level of technology that the commercial banks have. So for us, what we're seeing now is an opportunity to enable that happen. Okay, what are the expected outcomes that we want to see? If you look at the microfinance banks and the microfinance operators, what you see is that they serve a particular set of the Nigerian economy. They do serve what you call the SMEs and MSMEs. Now, that represents 48% of the Nigerian economy. That's about $200 billion in terms of value, okay? That represents about 17 million businesses. It represents about 20 million odd plus employed people. So we're saying as Interswitch, is there a way to aggregate and organize all of these operators and players onto a single infrastructure? So if you sit now and look out in the next 15, 20 years, what will be the contribution and the size of the microfinance banks, institutions, service providers to the Nigerian economy? Is it possible to push their contributions from 48% to 50, 60% by just providing them the basic technology to drive financial services? So that's the opportunity that we see, and that's what we want to focus on in the next 5 years, providing them with technology to drive payments, technology to drive commerce, access to service, increase velocity of transactions within their business, provide them shared services so that they don't have to make these big investments using their shareholders' funds. We'll build that infrastructure for them and we'll offer it to them using interesting business and revenue models. So that's our aspiration. And what is also interesting is this problem exists in Nigeria, okay? We're tackling that head on. We're also seeing exactly the same opportunity in Kenya, in Uganda, in Ghana, and in other parts of Africa. So, like we say in Interswitch, our ambition is to inspire Africa to greatness. And part of what we'll be doing is to make that happen across the continent. Okay, I think that's a very interesting question. One of the things you need to look at when you look at the microfinance economy is that it serves a peculiar type of market. Okay, largely they target what you call, they do target a portion of the banks today, but there's a huge opportunity to target the unbanked, okay, and the underbanked. If you look at the Alfina report, that represents about 80 odd million people that still require banking services, okay? What we want to do, like I mentioned before, is empower those microfinance banks with technologies that will allow them onboard these customers much faster than they do today. It will allow them lower their cost to serve, okay? Instead of investing hundreds of millions in building out bank branch, is it possible that we'll help them jointly build out an agent network? Okay. Instead of investing a lot of money in building out a data center infrastructure or renting it at a high cost, is it possible that working with Interswitch, you can get that as a cloud service, hosted here, meet all the regulatory requirements, and you do that at a lower cost? Okay. So what we're doing is providing these key technologies to microfinance banks to enable them serve their customers. Now, are the customers ready? What we've seen, if you look at the CBN report last year, the loan disbursement in the microfinance bank sector grew by close to 120-something%. Last year, they disbursed about 540 billion naira. Okay? That is massive. What that means is the kind of success we're seeing in the commercial bank sector is beginning to happen in the microfinance bank sector. And what is driving that is the adoption of mobile payments, is the adoption of USSD, okay? Is the adoption of social media platforms for transactions, is the adoption of e-commerce. We think that there is enough momentum and enough education of the customers of this microfinance bank and they're now poised to begin to adopt some of the technologies that they can see in and around them. Okay, we also know, if you look at the basic statistics around those things that enable and drive growth, tele-density for Nigeria is high, it's about 106%. Is way much higher than most of the countries around Africa. Internet penetration is close to about 100 million plus people. Now, we know the number of phones out there, 200 something million lines active. We know the number of Nigerians that are out there. The basic systems and tools that will enable financial transactions to happen across all levels, whether at the commercial bank level or the microfinance bank level, they already exist. Okay? What do you then need to drive transactions? You need to know your customer. We have BVN, we have name. Okay? You need your customer to be able to do transactions at the speed of light. We have USSD, we have mobile banking. So we're saying, take all of these capabilities, provide them to your customer, and we think that the opportunity to help Microfinance Bank begin to serve a lot more people down there at the bottom of the pyramid now exists, and we'll be helping them to do that. Well, I think my view is that it will a lot of the initiatives that is being done to drive financial inclusion by regulator, by government, by independent organizations, NGOs and the rest of it, is part of what is activating the opportunity at the bottom of the pyramid. You can't take away the amount of work that has been done by Elfina, by Bill Gates, by the central bank around their cashless policy and the rest of it, by government forcing people down there to adopt electronic payment methods as way to pay. The central bank's current initiative, e-Naira, are part of things now that are helping us prepare grounds for massive adoption, okay, of payment channels. So in my view, I think strongly a lot of the work that's been done in and around Nigeria, in and around Africa, to bring to fore the importance of financial inclusion, trying to enable those that are excluded be included, helping organizations build infrastructure, helping government put in the right policy. I think that is what has now prepared the microfinance bank and microfinance institutions to be able to tap into that whole economy that we're looking at. Interswitch in 2002, some 20 odd years ago, took a bet on payment and commerce. What we then did was work with banks across Nigeria to build out the national payment network. Banks invested in front-end processors. Banks invested in ATM networks across channels. They invested in POS. Basically worked with us to design a national card scheme and then build out that infrastructure, okay? On the back of that today, what we've seen is an entire industry that is thriving, okay? We've seen the number of investments that has come into Nigeria. We've seen the number of fintechs. We've seen the number of unicorns that have come out of that effort, okay? And at the core of that is the fact that we built a real-time online payment infrastructure. We connected all the banks in Nigeria to that single infrastructure and then connected as many industries to that infrastructure. And we enabled our partners, fintechs as they call them now, service providers, to build solutions and platforms in an open and interoperable way on that infrastructure. We see the same opportunity for the microfinance economy, okay? Today is a fragmented market. We think there is an opportunity to bring all of that energy, all of those players into a united infrastructure. We think there's an opportunity to standardize service in that industry. We think there is an opportunity to aggregate all of the consumers in that industry into one cohesive market. okay? Where you can imagine looking out with one single API, you can reach 20, 30 million microfinance account holders. What kind of services can you offer to them? Okay, so what we're doing in Interswitch is, first, we're building out that infrastructure. We're working with the microfinance bank to build that infrastructure. It will come to them at next to nothing. Okay, once we build that infrastructure, we'll then enable all of the capabilities that we have in terms of rolling out financial services. So on that infrastructure, they will be able to build products, payment products across channels. So whether they want to offer ATM, want to offer POS, agency business, all that is natural, they will do that. We're also helping them build a trusted set of sub-infrastructures that will enable them do agency on one system. Will enable them do merchant acquiring, targeting specific market segments, okay? So we'll be building with them a trusted infrastructure. The third thing that we'll be doing also is to help them activate specific markets. When you look at the markets that they serve, there are 3-4 dominant markets. There's agriculture, there's retail, of course there's financial services, lending, payments and the rest of it, and then there is healthcare. So what we'll be doing is working with them to build specific innovative solutions to roll out some of the things that we're doing now at commercial bank level for microfinance bank. So in the end, what we expect to see when you look out if in 5 to 10 years time is that the communities being served, the SMEs, the MSMEs, they will have a number of banks operating at their level and providing services that they can rely on and they can trust, because they have a company like Interswitch backing all of that initiative. So that's how we see that rolling out.